Welcome, or welcome back to Remembering Perfection. I'll start this out by saying that I'm sure I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before. But really, it's kind of a minor revelation, or minor remembrance, I suppose, if we're being more accurate and truthful. That's all everything is. There is no true learning. It's just remembrance in whatever form you want to remember it, or in whatever way you want to remember it by, I guess. Whatever means you use in order to do so. But the concept of light and dark and good and evil and whatever, the war that people are always talking about wars that are still being perpetuated as far as we can, or as far as we see, as far as we experience, I suppose. I was just trying to think of like a more objective way of thinking about it, because while on one hand, yeah, sure, I could see it as being like others describe, but I guess the root of it for me, fly on my leg is tickling the hairs. I'm wondering what the heck is going on. Anyway, more distraction. Ooh. This is a big theme for sure. Definitely wanting more and more to be less and less distracted. That whole concept, to get back on track, comes down to the root of expansion by appearance or contraction by appearance. That shouldn't really come as any surprise. If we are going to look at it like a light and dark thing, or good and evil thing, or whatever, I guess in the light and dark sense, the more light shines, or the stronger the light is, the more awareness we can have about things that were once in the dark. Now granted, there is the quote that the more you reveal, the more it's revealed that the shadow is never ending. But it's like that for, the light as well. We just are in a process of catching up. How we do that with infinity, it's already done. But the unfoldment is just what we're witnessing, I suppose, right? That's the way the story goes. We're just here to witness the linear unfoldment of things, of the light expanding to its ultimate extent, essentially, revealing all that hides in the shadow, or in the dark, rather. And then, to put it in the terms of good and evil, I guess. A quote came to mind. I don't know if I'll be able to remember it. Now it's like, we're insisting upon a battle, though. It's like evil, how does it go? It's like evil wins or whatever when good men say and do nothing or something like that. So it's a call to action, really. In the sense of you can't expect for the expansion to not be met with resistance by those whom would prefer to continue to dwell in the darkness. Because it certainly can be comfortable there. I can attest to that from my experience, that it could be comfortable in a way of speaking. Comfortable in the sense that, I don't know, nothing needs to be done. And it really goes the same way, the other direction, and sense at least. Whenever you don't really overthink and overanalyze whatever quote unquote would have to be done in order to counteract that stagnancy, or when you realize that stagnancy, or like what other word was I going to use? Like, apathy, or I don't know, whatever. I guess in the sense of like becoming that thing, that vibrational match, basically. And then once you're the vibrational match for carrying out your life's purpose, for instance, as you see it, then suddenly it's not, I guess not action. Maybe that's not the right way to frame it, but like work. One way, I suppose, to think about it. Because work is definitely in my experience been given a bad name. Work is associated with a 9-to-5 structure, corporations, like corporate structures, living within all these, what often seem to be toxic environments. For thriving, and more so focused on the dog-eat-dog thing, competition, like, you gotta be better than the next guy, and outperform and outdo, and all this stuff, as opposed to the truth of our reality, which is more collaborative. And so the way that I see it, at least, it's unnatural, a lot of these things that we willingly put ourselves into these positions. Granted, we've been convinced that this is a good thing, that, it's way too hard to go out and do something on your own or whatever. Way easier if there's already a structure in place. Here, just utilize our structure, and you don't have to think about it. Meanwhile, why don't you just turn your brain the rest of the way off too? So we don't ever have to argue with you, or we don't ever have to have any kind of confrontation or conflict in our peaceful, productive work environment, or what have you. I mean, I'm not saying that it works all the time. There are definitely those kind of people that are willing to argue no matter what, and God bless them, honestly. God does bless them. Just a very interesting experiment. The free will experiment. The question is, how long are you going to give your free will to somebody else? In a manner of speaking, at least. As far as you can perceive in this experience, at least. I mean, the even more insidious thing to me, I think, is that, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that for some people these environments and structures are probably perfectly suitable for them. But for those that it's not, how many of those people have convinced themselves that well, not just convince themselves, but come to the recognition that they have made their bed, so to say. They're the reason they're in the position that they're in. But also that they're okay with it. That it would be too hard. It's too late. There's not enough time. I'm already this age. Nobody ever makes it after this age, in this environment. Those kinds of things. Why? Why do we say these things to ourselves? Other than as casual justifications for the abandonment of our dreams. And isn't that so sad? And many of us came here to do so many greater things than we end up settling for. And I guess that's kind of what this is coming down to, is thinking about this because of myself. How many of us are just settling for what is comparatively a mediocre life to what you could have had? Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be grateful for what it is that you do have in every moment, and appreciative, and realize that everything is there for a purpose. But are you utilizing those things for, like, as the learning tools or as the teaching tools that they are? I don't know. I mean, you tell me. Or are you avoiding them like I was for years and years on end? Wallowing in my own sorrow and self-loathing and all this other stuff, which, man, again, how do we get to these places? I mean, I understand, like, again, programming coming from our parents. Maybe your parents didn't love themselves very much, you know? Why is self-love not a, like a, I was gonna say prerequisite, but like, how would you phrase it otherwise? Like, how is that not just status quo? How is that not the baseline? How is that not what the one thing that we can rely on in our life, which really is the only thing we can rely on, ironically enough, is ourself and this experience. I'm not saying that it's impossible to rely on other people and, like, that people never do anything for one another or any of that, but if you're expecting anything from anybody else in that regard, especially, why would you be surprised by disappointment in that same vein? People do what they want to do. You can't control anybody else. You can only control yourself. Watching crows fighting. Again, distraction. I mean, in some regard at least. It's a better distraction than, in my opinion, than some other things, that's for sure. Being distracted by nature. Nature's always trying to show us stuff, you know? Always trying to teach us stuff. Everything is, really, but I don't know. I don't know if it's any easier to see when you're out in nature. I was gonna say that, that it is. I'm not sure if a lot of people look at life the way that I'm looking at life lately. But starting to see symbolism and meaning in everything, basically. Anyway, I've been talking for 19 minutes or so. I mean, minus the dead space if you're going to try and tax me for not just being a jabberjaw the entire time, you know? Which would be fair enough. That's something else I guess we should become a little more. Maybe that'll be the next or another video that I post, but I think we should become more comfortable in silence by ourselves. gotten to the point where it's a must to have distractions for so many people, it seems. Just seems that way. I don't know. It's kind of wild. Source of all creation inside of you. We choose to outsource it. That's okay. Again, that'll be another day. And, or another time, whatever the case. Either way, love you. If there's one thing that you do in this life, you just have one job. Just gotta remember who you are. Peace and blessings. Until next time.